Years ago, the Small Business Administration would not consider debt refinancing as a legitimate use of proceeds. The reason being is SBA has the credit elsewhere rule. If you're able to get credit elsewhere, the SBA is not the solution for you. However, SBA has determined that credit that's on unreasonable terms should be allowed to be refinanced through the Small Business Administration. So what does SBA consider to be unreasonable? There's certain things that they deem to always be unreasonable, and you can always refinance. You can always refinance credit card debt, never on good terms in their opinion. You can refinance any note that is structured with a balloon payment or a demand feature. SBA automatically allows you to refinance that. They also let you refinance debt where the interest rate is higher than SBA's maximum allowable interest rate for that same particular use of proceeds and term. They also will refinance debt when you're over-collateralized by SBA's collateral definition, which is you need to be collateralized to the fullest extent possible when the loan is over $350,000. And therefore, if you have a piece of property that has an excessive amount of equity in it and your loan balance is very small, you could refinance that with an SBA loan as long as you provided them with collateral similar. So what I'm saying is that if you have real estate securing your loan, then you need to replace it with different real estate that may not have as much equity. You can't replace real estate equity with equity in machinery and equipment because you're taking an appreciable asset and replacing it with a depreciable asset. That you can't do. But if it's over-collateralized, SBA will allow you to shift collateral, refinance and shift collateral around. They also will refinance the acquisition costs of buying a business. So they do financing for acquisitions of businesses, but right now I'm talking about they will refinance business acquisition loans under specific circumstances depending on how long you've had the loan and whether or not it's a loan from the seller or a different third party. So those are things that they will also consider refinancing. And they will always refinance a revolving line of credit, be it a short-term revolver or a long-term revolving line of credit, if the existing lender is unwilling or unable to term out that loan on a reasonable basis so that the business can afford the repayment of that line of credit. There could be other reasons why SBA would allow debt refinancing to happen, but if that is the case, the lender and you as the borrower have to come together and make a case for why the existing debt is considered to be unreasonable, because it's not one of the 7 listed reasons from the SBA. You have determined it's unreasonable on another basis. So then SBA will consider refinancing as long as they believe that it's on unreasonable terms. We also help clients when they have utilized personal debt to finance their business. And most specifically, I'm talking about someone who's gotten a home equity loan or a home equity line of credit where they've taken those funds and invested it into their business. So there's proof, and you have to have proof, that it was utilized for business purposes. And if that's proven through copies of checks and wires into the business and receipts that it was utilized for business purposes, then that is also okay. In addition to, many people start their small businesses with their personal credit card. And this is a little bit harder to prove. When I mentioned the ones the reasons that SBA thinks that it's on unreasonable terms, and I mentioned business credit card, that's when the credit card's in the name of the business. So it's already assumed that those charges were utilized for business purposes. But when you mix funds for business and personal in one credit card, you're going to have been a really good bookkeeper. And so if you have good records, then we would be able to help you refinance that debt.